are some really bad superheroes. It doesn't matter if you're a DC fan or a Marvel fan, we can all agree some of these characters should have never been made. Aquaman, for example, kinda sucks. Obviously, he's not the worst, but his superpower is talking to fish. It's a really useless superpower. If you grew up in a universe like My Hero Academia, and everyone around you had cool powers like super strength and super speed, but you got stuck with talking to fish, you'd probably want to redo. Especially since you could have the ability to talk to animals instead, which live on land where you live, making it way more useful. Mermaid Man from SpongeBob is actually a better superhero, and he's a parody of Aquaman. He can literally shrink things or people and incinerate them. Aquaman can't do that. His costume is also just a little goofy. I'm sure it was cool in the 40s, but it has not aged well. There's also a superhero named Squirrel Girl, and her name is exactly what she is. She's a girl with squirrel powers, and she just randomly got these powers. Just one day, she found out she could talk to squirrels, and that's literally her origin story. I think it was a missed opportunity to have her bit by a squirrel to get her powers because she's a Marvel hero, so they could have easily parodied Spider-Man, and that actually would have been kind of funny. That also would have been a better explanation than her just having a modification in her genes for unknown reasons. But her powers are all right. She can talk to squirrels, and she has superhuman agility, senses strength, and some claws and a tail. Nothing super cool, but nothing really bad either. It kind of just depends on how good the powers are. Like, is it Hulk super strength or is it Captain America super strength? Because if it's Captain America, that just kind of sucks. And in her first appearance in the comics, she kind of looks like the Hamburglar. But besides that, Squirrel Girl is pretty mid, which is why I was shocked to find out it is canon that she defeated Thanos in the comics by convincing Galactus to not feed on Earth by bribing him with nuts. Like actual nuts, the stuff squirrels eat. But apparently that's enough to stop Galactus, which then stopped Thanos from ever being able to destroy the universe. I think it's pretty self-evident why we've never seen her in a movie before. And while I was researching Squirrel Girl, I found a superhero called Walker, who is a dolphin who can turn into a human. Not to be confused with a human who could turn into a dolphin. They are officially called a were-dolphin, which honestly doesn't make much sense because a werewolf is a human who can turn into a wolf, not a wolf that turns into a human. But this is probably one of the weirdest superheroes I have ever seen, and I also can't really find anything about this superhero. I get so desperate to find more information about this dolphin that I used Bing, and I still only found 2 websites talking about this dolphin. One of them basically has no information and 1 screenshot, and the other looks like it's from 1996. So it's safe to say this dolphin did not last long, which might be a good thing because dolphins are kind of awful creatures. Video about why dolphins should go extinct is coming soon, so subscribe and hit that notification bell if you don't want to miss it. All right, next up we got Matter Eater Lad. His name perfectly describes him because his only power is just eating. He can digest things really quickly, he can analyze the contents of something by eating it, he can eat anything, and he gets super speed because his metabolism is very fast. I don't really know how metabolism and super speed go together, but here we are. And Matter Eater Lad is part of the DC universe, and when I said he can eat anything, apparently that also includes Superman. I don't really know how I feel about that being a thing that was brought up in the comics, but here we are. Fun fact though, Matter Eater comes from a planet of people who all have the same ability as him. So that means there's an entire planet of people who can literally just eat Superman that exist in the DC universe. And besides eating things, Matter Eater Lad's abilities are just basic hand-to-hand combat. He doesn't really have any other abilities, and his ability to eat anything seems like it's used for really dumb reasons, like digging a tunnel. He's just super average. Definitely better than being a were-dolphin though. It's also better than being named Arm Fall Off Boy and having your only power being that your arms can fall off. That is literally all this superhero can do. He doesn't have super strength, he's not super tough, he's not super fast, he literally can just take his arms off. That is it. And he is in the DC universe. Next up, we got the Red Bee, also from the DC universe. And he has no superpowers, actually. He just trained a bunch of bees to attack people on command, and he has a stinger gun. I actually think it's kind of cool that this guy can just train bees to attack people with no abilities. But unfortunately, this version of Red Bee was swapped out for a hot Red Bee with superpowers. The new Red Bee is part insect, so she has superhuman physical traits. And she also has a robotic suit that boosts her power that comes paired with 2 big robotic bees that shoot giant lasers. The new Red Bee is clearly improved and really isn't a bad hero at all. But the old Red Bee was a bad hero, let's be real. But it was cool he could tame bees with no powers and use them to attack people. But if something serious is happening, you're not gonna fare super well with only being able to fight with bees. Next up, we have the most unhinged superhero on this list, Dog Welder from the DC universe. As the name suggests, this superhero welds dead dogs onto bad guys' faces. And to get those dogs, he sets up traps in back alleys to catch strays. This means he has a never-ending supply of welding equipment. He has no superpowers, he's a mute, and somehow he's 6'4", power and 420 pounds. I have no idea how he weighs that much given he looks totally average, but this total psychopath is massive. We don't know anything else about him though besides he's American and has brown hair. Now the reason he welds dogs to people's faces is because he has a compulsion to do so. There's no other reason for him, he is literally just obsessed with it. And it's weird that he's referred to as good when he kills stray dogs and welds them to people's faces. Yeah, sure, it's villains he's welding the dogs to, but it's still very weird, and I don't think killing stray dogs is very heroic. If I was gonna call him any kind of hero, it'd be an anti-hero, and that's a stretch. He is definitely an interesting character though, for sure. But as a superhero, he's not gonna get much done if he has to face anybody who's even remotely powerful, and he's also a terrible superhero from a morality perspective. Dog Welder is also part of a whole group of alcoholic superheroes called Section 8, led by a hero named SixPack. And SixPack's abilities are basically unknown. He apparently has reality alteration, but no one can tell if he's actually doing anything. So he's probably just a drunk who thinks he's doing things. The group also has a sex offender in it, an ex-convict, a guy who can spit mucus at his enemies, blinding them, a guy who always misses his target called Friendly Fire, another guy who only throws batons at people, and finally a guy with no superpowers. The only character trait he has listed in terms of quote-unquote powers is schizophrenia, and unfortunately he died running into a gas station with a grenade in it. Not a great way to go. All in all, terrible superheroes, but goddamn, I was interested in learning about them. And the worst hero I have on this list is called Doorman, and he's from the Marvel Universe. Now you might be thinking, how could he be bad? He looks kind of cool, and Doorman is actually a pretty solid name for a superhero. Well, his power is transferring people through walls, like a door. That's really all he can do for a very long time. The reason he has his power is because he's connected to something called the Dark Force dimension, and this also allows him to levitate, and that does not mean flying. He can't do that, at least not pre-death Doorman. Basically what happened is, Doorman died, then got resurrected by a guy named Oblivion to serve as an angel of death because his connection with the Dark Force dimension made that possible. Now this deal with Oblivion gave him a huge buff in power. After he was resurrected, he gained intangibility, which means he can just pass through anything now. He can also fly now using skis that he can summon at will, and he also has the ability to collect souls of the recently deceased and deliver them to Oblivion. The character, not like hell or something. But after Doorman died, he literally just became an angel of death. So Doorman before death was kind of awful. He was literally just a door, and that is a really lame superpower. Doorman after death though, probably one of the best heroes in the MCU just from cool factor alone. The next superhero I have is an honorable mention of not a bad superhero, just a ridiculous one. His name is Fat Fury, and he's an annoying fat kid who hates fat people. He's also addicted to lollipops and pretty much eats them in every scene he's ever in. And he wears only the finest drip. Fat Fury has Superman level strength, can talk to animals, he's indestructible, he can fly, and he's a master of hypnotism and disguise. So he's kind of just insanely overpowered. Like there's comics of him just stealing Spider-Man and Batman's costumes with complete ease. He's not a bad hero by any means, and he definitely is the most powerful on this list, if not in general, because he could probably fight every superhero I know of besides One Punch Man and win. Even Goku might have a problem fighting Fat Fury. The original publishers of Fat Fury was the American Comics Group, and he is now in the public domain, and I'm assuming that's why this comic with Batman and Spider-Man even exists. He's also apparently irresistible to women, but I just thought he was cool, and I wanted to share him, and he also made a good thumbnail. But that is the end of the list. If you want to watch more, click the end screens now. Check out my playlist bangers. It's all my videos, so you want to go to binge, there you go. You can also check out this video I made with the new COD. Like and subscribe if you're new, and if you have any bad heroes, or just weird heroes you want me to talk about, leave them in the comments below.